First, I'd like to give a special shout out to the independent media because they have really served and it has been their duty to warn. And if it wasn't for the independent media, and I'll include MSNBC, I'll give credit where credit is due, we the people would not be well informed on Donald Trump or the predecessors, malignant narcissist, and him being a sociopath. So I'd like to give a shout out to Midas Touch Network, Legal AF, Mistrial, Politics Girl Podcast, The Influence Continuum, Mia Copa with Michael Cohen, The Weekend Show, Burn the Boats, Majority 54, Politics Beatdown, Lights On with Jessica Denson, On Democracy with F.P. Wellman, Uncovered, Brian Tyler Combs. And speaking of Brian Tyler Combs, he has showed up and showed out. I do, and I have finished your book, Shameless, and it is off the chain, and the damn Republicans really need to be ashamed. Shout out to you, Brian Tyler Combs. I'm so proud of you. And showing you this book, I want a lot of people to go out there. Everybody, pick up this book. It's a good book. And read and continue to educate yourself. You cannot walk through this life without being informed. And this young man has stepped out to inform us once again about the Republican Party and their madness. And thank you, Jamie Raskin, for your wonderful foreword in this book. I will continue. Adam Mocker, Tabitha Speaks Politics, David Packman, Democracy Now!, Democracy Docket. There are so many networks out there that has independent networks that has stepped forward and has really helped keep the American people informed. Because you know what happened? The American Psychiatric Association and the psychologists got kicked out. A gag order was placed on the Goldwater rule. And that rule was to say, you got to shut up. Because now that you all giving out this information, there's a lot of people out there that want this malignant narcissist sociopath in. And so what did they do? They shut down a team of doctors. A team of doctors that was, and you must get this book because we got to continue to educate ourselves. The dangerous case of Donald Trump. They shut down these doctors. Now, the problem that I have with that, it was to keep us from being informed. And what's really horrible, they ran the predecessor's case every day. We knew something about the predecessor, what was going on in his trial with E. Jean Carroll, with Michael Cohen, with Hope Hicks, a lot of people. Now I'm going to say it again. If you ran that trial and we were informed, and for all the people that made money and for the subscribers and got clicks and views, then okay, let's run this every day, so that people can be informed and understand what is going on with the person that causes an existential threat to the nation. Because we need to know. The problem with education is we are not well informed in the areas in the medical field. We do not educate ourselves in the educational field. We do not educate ourselves in the psychological field. Maybe that will reduce a lot of the mental illness, the way we have our diets and health. And especially, and I'm going to say this again, we are not informed, or they have tried to keep us from being informed by not giving out information on the dangerous case of Donald Trump. So there's a lot of people, and they said a bloodbath. A lot of people got a blood on their hands. Congress have blood on their hands because they knew well that this man was unfit to be the president of our nation. And here we are again. And why is that? Why are we back here and having this conversation? We're back here having this conversation because, once again, there were many people in the legacy media, the mainstream media, the psychiatrists and psychologists that just took these people out because they wanted to be able to bring somebody in that they could manipulate. Well, that's not going to happen with Harris because she already let them know, I'm here to prosecute the case. I'm willing to have the debate. And I'm thinking, okay, that's all well and good. But I feel the same way about Hillary, who had to get up and run against an uneducated man that was not even on her level of being educated to what? Run against the predecessor whom she lost to. But we know how that election turned out, because I was glad that one of the young ladies on Fox brought it to his attention that, okay, you actually lost. Why come you can't say to the people that you lost? Shout out to Fox for maybe getting slapped around enough to realize, or hoping that they don't get their butt sued off again by what the predecessor has to say. And back to Kamala Harris having to have a debate with a person that's not even on her level. Why should she have a debate? Because we know how it's going to turn out. But a lot of people is going to be angry, and they're going to say, well, I don't think you should say those things about the predecessor. Well, I wouldn't say these things about the predecessor if I didn't have information. And the greatest thing for me, I'm the lucky one. I had the opportunity to live in an environment constructed, or many people in the neighborhood, and I didn't know at the time, had these particular titles or had these different types of personality disorders. But that's the environment that I lived around, and you better believe I'm well equipped to talk on that subject. But in the meantime, as I say, we need to be educating ourselves in the field. Brian has stepped out there and done a book, and there's many books out there on the predecessors. Many people tried to warn us several times. And in the medical profession, they do harm. Harm was really done to a lot of us because, once again, I said we don't keep ourselves informed. And if you don't think I don't have the book, How We Do Harm, where one of the doctors exposed, he breaks ranks about being sick in America, Bernie Sanders would love this book. But I'm not going to step up on this platform and tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you either what I live, because I only talk about the things that I lived, I failed in, I understand, I've learned, and I know. And if I don't know, I'm going to go and get some information on it. Because the problem with us is some of us want to know and some of us don't want to know. A lot of us want to be in denial. And I'm going to tell you what brought it home for me. After COVID-19, I looked at the predecessor as, Jesus, you're just as bad as or contagious as that virus. Because to go out there and tell people that in a couple of days it'll be over and you can go drink some Clorox, I don't think so. And that baton that you passed to President Biden, a man that should have never been compared to the predecessor, who was aging gracefully, good Lord, that should have never been a comparison to him. No, because with the predecessor, he wants us all to think that his behavior should be normalized. And you cannot normalize a narcissistic, malignant narcissist that's a sociopath, one of the deadliest personalities listed on the DSM-5, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual. You cannot normalize that behavior, and that behavior is not going to get better. It's getting worse. And you don't have to do an assessment or an evaluation on it, because the whole world can see what is going on with the predecessor. The whole world sees this behavior. And for me, like I said, when Biden passed the baton, okay, I passed the baton in my community, and what seemed to look like normalcy was death. We're all going to die, true enough, but it was not normal to be doing 3 and 4 and 5 funerals a week. And that's what we was doing when COVID hit. And who was the mastermind? Well, I can't blame COVID on the predecessor, but what I can say is it was crazy for him to come out there and make it look like I can defeat this virus. That was crazy. Just like when he jumped up and had that photo shoot of him thinking I can dodge this bullet. I'm invincible. I'm God. No. And that's the problem with the predecessor, that he wants you to think that he's invincible, and he's not. He's not. And when you're vulnerable, it's okay to be vulnerable. But the thing about vulnerability is you have to handle your vulnerability. You can't put your problems or whatever you want somebody to be your savior. You got to save yourself. And in order to save yourself, to help yourself, you need to educate yourself. You need to be well informed. And what I'm saying to these younger people out here, you cannot walk through this life without being informed. You cannot. You have a public library where you can go and read every day for free, but you fail to do it. You got to stay informed. You got to, because you're going to hand your world over to a person that cannot control his own world. You cannot do this. But I wanted to give a shout out to all these independent stations and MSNBC for keeping us well informed in the all the things that, from overturning the government to 1.2 million people being taken out by COVID, from the predecessor up getting the Supreme Court to participate and upend a lot of the precedented rules. This is a person that cannot sit in the Oval Office. This is a person that will hand our country over to whoever gets in his ear and manipulates him. That's what happened. So in the Geneva Doctrine, it is stated that any time somebody is dangerous, cause a threat to themselves and cause a threat to other people, then the bottom line is they have to go. This behavior cannot be normalized. It should never be normalized. And the most frightening thing is that is what the predecessor wants you to believe, because of all the lies that he's told, all the things that he's done. This looks normal. It looks normal, and it's not. This is not normal behavior. No, it isn't. So I want to thank also D.L. Hughley for standing up and apologizing to Kamala Harris. Shout out to D.L. because a lot of times when we're wrong, we don't want to say we're wrong. And I really appreciate him coming forward and saying that he made a mistake. And we don't want our nation to be in a position where it was the duty of Congress to have taken this man out who was unfit and let him go as long as he have gone. It should have never gotten this far, but it did. And so I want to also thank the young man, the Republican, that got up and said, I may not agree with Kamala Harris' policy, but when you vote, you are a patriot. It's patriotism. We have to put our differences aside. And it is our lives that are on the line. And if we have to have any peace of mind, any freedom, or knowing that our democracy is at risk. This is what we have to do. We got to be well informed. We got to bring people back that knows the detriment that the predecessor can do to our country. And just like you ran that media on the predecessor's trial, I am truly asking that this be a way to help educate the public so they can learn who the predecessor really is. They've looked at information from years back. They're looking at information now. I know a lot of people always say, well, he can't be evaluated. It's the difference between a hidden disability when you have to go in and get assessments done because it is hidden and they're trying to look for it. Now, this is not hidden and it's not a disability. And once again, it's a narcissistic personality disorder that's under DSM-5 as listed as one of the deadliest personality disorders there is. So, once again, I want to thank each and every one of the independent media. I want to thank MSNBC. It has been your duty to inform, and you have done a hell of a job. Also, I'd like to thank Rachel for just coming out. Well, the person that she worked for, his book, I'm listening to that now, and she did an excellent job in her voice in on the auditory book of Trust is, what is it? Trust is, I forgot the book. No, I didn't really forget the book. I got so many books on my mind right now. But the bottom line is I want to thank you, Rachel, because I'm looking at that book as we speak. And I'm
Ministry of Truth.
Ministry of Truth. So I'm looking at that book as we speak. And like I said, you've done an excellent job verbally speaking it. So what I have to say is I don't want it to be a bloodbath. And I want to see young people living out their dreams, have an extension to their quality of life, talking to their grandchildren, living in a country or living within a world that freedom exists, that they have the ability to move forward and not move backwards. Like I said, I'm the lucky one. And seeing Biden passing that baton to Kamala Harris and future generations, that was amazing and very masterful. What I have seen in my lifetime is when the baton is passed, I'm the woman standing on top of the hill, the woman that has went back to her hometown and looking down as the sun beams across the coffin and that young person is being lowered into the ground. So once again, the baton I want to represent and pass to the young people is please educate yourself and stay informed. Educate yourself and stay informed. Because that's one of the things that Project 2025 wanted to do. It wanted to draw out all of the education. That's one of the things that Chevron doctrine, when it was taken out, it said we're going to get rid of everybody that is smart. You heard Michelle Obama stand up there and say, no, he can't come our way because me and Barack are too educated people. And that's devastating to him alone. And we cannot be taken, our system of education cannot be taken out because we need to know. And what you're looking at today, history is being made. And it's an honor for me to have lived it out and get the opportunity to welcome in a woman as the vice president. And thank you, Hillary Clinton, for opening up the gate, cracking the glass ceiling, for Kamala Harris to come through. Before I go, once again, I want to thank all the independent networks, MSNBC. I want to tell the networks that have not stepped up to the plate, it is your duty to warn. The only way that we're going to make it through is to be well informed of the dangers and the threat that the predecessor poses to our nation. Once again, the medical industry, what happened? They did do harm. Get this book, How We Do Harm. The Republicans, yes, they did do harm. They did a lot of harm. And please, get this book, Shameless, by Brian Tyler Combs. Get this book. Be informed. And once again, I want the doors to be open to the 37 psychologists and doctors who got shut down by legacy media, by the psychiatric association and psychologists, other psychologists who was scared and fear. My acronym for fear is false evidence appearing real. Another acronym for fear for me is false emperor appearing real. And in order for us to understand what the predecessor and the threat that he causes our nation, we must once again open the door for the people that wrote this book, The Dangerous Case of Donald Trump. That's what the public needs to know. Do you see that emblem on the side? That emblem is our emblem. And we don't want the predecessor sitting behind that emblem. So what it is now, it is our duty to be well informed. It is our duty to vote your conscience. It is our duty to vote what is right for this country. So on that note, it has been an honor and a pleasure to be here. And once again, I will not get up on this live stream. I'm not about the clicks and the views. I don't care if you click on, click off, and don't send it to the algorithm, because that happens a lot. But what I want you to know is I'm well informed. I'm educated in my special way. I've learned to accept change, adapt. I want to have a conversation in this moment in time, not in the past. Not in the past, but in this moment in time, right now, here today, with young people, LGBT. It's not about being integrated, but it is about the inclusion in our nation. And that's something that a lot of us cannot accept. This is about mental health, inclusion, a nation that needs to understand that we can no longer tolerate or look at the predecessor and his behavior as normal, because it's not. Once again, thank you for listening, and thank you for all your help, because I will continue to learn. I will continue to listen. And that's what people my age, I'm a new G, okay? And OG and everybody needs to do is to stay well informed. And on that note, I'm out.